Hello, and welcome to the 34th episode of the Dlsone podcast. I'm your host for this episode, Daniel Goodman, or DG Cubes.
I'm Adam Vetzer, the Rubik's Cubed.
I'm Jesse Hartnett, or JR Cuber.
And today we are joined by a very special guest, Phillip Lewicki.
Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Great to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
All right. So,
All right, awesome.
We are going to now get started with the Q&A. So the first question comes from Yoshimura Roy Lee, a classic.
A classic.
And he says, to Phillip, how did you end up with your current username? Actually, he says, to Laser O Chimpanzee.
So it is
how
important.
did you end up with?
It is important that it is a monkey, because when I was a young boy back in the day, maybe 2010, 2011, I was playing Bloons Tower Defense on the school computers.
A classic.
Yeah, and so I started a little movie making club with my friends, and we would make short films, comedy, all the types of videos. We needed a name.
Yeah.
And my friend had a really nice monkey shirt. It had like a really well drawn monkey on it. So we figured, okay, we'll write, we'll like put a piece of paper on the monkey shirt, and then it'll be like a laser monkey, and it's a custom logo. so then when I made my YouTube channel, I just stuck with that. So it's inspired by Bloons Tower Defense, and the inspiration for the zero is when I was making the name, Laser Monkey was not available. So I added a zero in there, and then it was available.
What an
That's some next level inspiration.
I love the lore.
That's great.
Now, what type of Bloons Tower Defense are we talking here? Are we talking Cool Math Games version 3 version...
Yeah, I think we were playing Cool Math Games version 3, maybe version 4. I don't know if that was out yet. But there was definitely, it was the Super Monkey upgrade to get the laser vision. And that was my favorite. I really like the look of that one. I mean, it's terrible in comparison to Sun God, but it just in terms of aesthetics, I really like the laser monkey.
Oh, yeah. The last mobile game I got really, really into was Bloons Tower Defense 5 a little while ago before I deleted all games from my phone. Yeah, that's oh man, those Sun Gods, they're very fun.
I think the last mobile game I ever actually played seriously was Geometry Dash.
Geometry
That was
Dash.
fun, though.
Wow.
That was where it's at, bro.
Yeah. True.
Cool. All right. Well, that's an excellent start. Now we know the lore. Adam, do you want to take the next question?
No.
Okay, Jesse, would you like to ask the next question?
No.
All right. The next question comes from Newty Baconator, who says, to everyone, what do you eat at a comp?
A
Phillip, you want
Baconator.
to start us off?
Yeah. So ideally, I would eat some lean meats and maybe some bread, with some snacks in there, maybe some granola bars. But what actually happens is often it's very difficult to find food at a competition. So I'll get something out of a vending machine, like one of those bars they sell in the vending machine, or if I can find a place to eat lunch, I'll go to a restaurant and get like a sandwich or something. But it really does depend a lot on. I mean, there's this one competition before I got my first sub-7 average. I went and got sushi, and that wasabi really set me up for that sub-7. So I recommend you get sushi with wasabi, but it's never ideal. So
Yeah. No, I agree with that. For me, so I used to be living the life. Back when I lived at home most of the year. I mean, I still live at home, but like when I wasn't at college, my parents would bring all sorts of food, and we would always have like sandwiches and stuff for lunch, and like it was great. And then like as soon as I got to college and don't make my own food and rely on the dining halls there, I've basically just brought like 10 to 20 granola bars to every comp I go to. Plus like, whatever other snacks I can fit in there. I usually don't get breakfast because I leave too early, that the dining halls aren't open. And so lunch is usually whatever I can scavenge at the comp. Sometimes there's pizza, and that's always like a godsend. Yeah, it just totally depends on what I can find. And then dinner, I guess if people are having dinner after, like if people are getting dinner after the comp, I'll join them. But yeah, most comp days I probably eat about 7 granola bars. So,
I can't confirm. This dude's a monster. Like, I was straight up concerned in Australia. I was straight up concerned because, like, he'd just sit there. Like, this dude, like, pounds, like, sleeves of graham crackers, like, and Ritz crackers, like, in one go. And I'm like, how can you eat that many in one go? That's what he eats, granola bars and Ritz crackers. Like, that's it.
Yeah, no, because like they're super portable, you know, right? And also, I told Adam about this the other day. So the other day I was like watching some YouTube videos and I decided, snack time, right? Because I was in my dorm and I was hungry. So I took out a little sleeve of graham crackers. Now, one sleeve has 9 graham crackers. And so, you know, I had these graham crackers. I looked at the time, I guess, when I started for whatever reason, and I was sort of watching videos casually and like eating and very much taking breaks between eating too. It's not like I was eating, like shoving them down my gullet, but you know, I was eating them at a seemingly reasonable pace. 5 minutes later, all 9 graham crackers were gone.
Those are rookie numbers, bro.
Hey, I wasn't even trying though. That was like, you know, if I were trying, I could probably finish 9 graham crackers in like 3 minutes.
It's funny because like everyone always pegs me as a really fast eater, and then every time I try and do eating challenges against other people, I always lose. Which, funny enough, has happened several times. I don't know how, but it has happened before.
Yeah. No, I'm such a fast eater in general. Like, if I'm not sitting with somebody at a dining hall at school, like if I just go down on my own or whatever, like I'm done in 3 minutes and then I'm back in my room.
Yeah. At comps, I actually kind of have the opposite problem because everyone always wants to go out to eat. Like, I remember at Nationals, I had like 3 lunches because I went to lunch and then I got back and then some more friends came up and were like, hey, you want to go to lunch? And I was like, okay. And then we went to lunch and then I got back and then some other friends were like, hey, we're going to lunch. Do you want to come? And I was like, okay. And so
you don't have to say okay.
Well, I mean, like they were friends though, and I wanted to hang out with them. So I was like, sure, I'll come. Like I'm not competing in anything. Like, why not? And then so I had lunch 3 times.
Wow.
And like, if I remember right, I think I had like a full meal all 3 times too. I was just like, this is probably the only time I'm going to get to eat today. So I'm going to make the most of it.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, legally, if somebody asks you if you want to go to lunch at a comp, you have to say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. For me, like my goal at comps is just like eat a reasonable amount of calories and then make up for it the next day if I have to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I have the opposite problem. I have like eat too many calories and then not eat as much the next day.
Yeah. But I think for me, it's also because I usually do every event. So a lot of times I don't have a chance to go get lunch somewhere. So like if there's no lunch in the venue, I'm kind of like, you know, I don't really have any choice.
Hey, like perks of being slow, right?
Lunch is actually a very good event. I feel like competitions should really schedule more time for it.
You know, I went to Trois-Rivières recently for a competition, like last weekend, and they had pizza after the comp, which I found very interesting.
That's rare.
Right, so the comp ended, and then everyone went and got online and got pizza, and there were drinks and stuff.
Wow, interesting.
So everyone, like most people stayed around till the end of the comp.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a good strat, honestly. Because like most local comps, there's literally like 10 people at the very end.
Right. But here there were 40 people at like a 60, 70 person comp. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really surprising.
Yeah, that's smart.
Very smart.
All right. Well, that's what we eat.
No, I didn't say my thing yet.
Admo, what do you eat?
Well, I was gonna tell a story. So most recently, this is shout out Graham Lively, who organized I forget the name of the last competition I went to. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. What's it called? Clash at Carlisle Fall. Yeah, Carlisle. How do you know it and I don't? Whatever. So like there's no comps in central Pennsylvania, so this was the only one I've ever been to when I was living here at college. And Steve drove me there. Thank you, Steve. And
you're welcome.
And I'm telling a story, DG. And so I said beforehand, because this is the first comp, like I normally like volunteer most of my time when I'm not competing, but like this is the first time I actually filled out a staff application. because I was like, this time I won't steal food. I'll actually do it the right way. And so they're gonna bring the usual like pizza, and I can eat gluten. So they mentioned like, if you have dietary restrictions, let me know. So I was like, yeah, you have anything for me? Like fully expecting like he's gonna bring like some chips or something. Like I'll scrap my way through the day, like barely sustaining or something like that. I don't know. Dude bought me a whole gluten-free pizza, like an entire pizza, and he's like, and him and his parents were so nice, and they were like, oh yeah, we didn't know if like it was a serious thing or not, like so we kept it in the other room for you, like you can go and get it. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. Like I walk in there, it's a whole box of pizza. I was like, oh my god. And they made me a cheesecake that was gluten-free too. Like it was so nice.
Whoa,
they were very, very nice. Yeah, they had a lot of food there too.
Yeah.
But it was a very good, well-organized comp. So props to Grab. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's excellent. Yeah. So the lesson, the moral of the story is be gluten-free.
Yes. Yeah. That's the moral.
Yeah. All right, so that's the food. Moving on, we've got more questions. Adam, would you like to ask this? Adam, you are asking this question.
Okay, there you go. All right. Axel Sanchez, to everybody, what cube were you the most hyped about but disappointed after receiving it? As in, like, performance, appearance, etc.
Appearance.
Appearance.
Very easy. Yeah. Diane Panchi.
Oh, that's true.
It was the successor to the Zanchi, greatest cube of all time, and it was awful. The corners broke like immediately after receiving it. So not only was it a terrible cube, it didn't even work. I mean, just awful. And it was overpriced, and everyone pre-ordered it. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
I never actually got one.
I remember that. I remember that now, but it was so long ago.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like, I don't know, like Dianma maybe, because like I remember being like super hyped about every single Moyu cube, and then that cube was just trash.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I was trying to think of something recently, but like almost every cube is like at least pretty good that comes out.
I have something recent.
Yeah.
I mained the GTS, and I mained the GTS 2 and loved it. Like, Yue Xiao and Hualong probably like are my top two cubes, but GTS 2 is like third for me all time. And GTS 3 was like, I just really, really hate those ridges. And that was really disappointing for me. I never got one. But
I have a better answer. Ganai.
Yeah.
That cube is kind of trash, honestly. And I was like really excited for it.
What's your problem with it?
The app is bad.
The cube is bad too. I don't like the cube at all.
All right. Well, I like the cube.
Do you like Gen cubes?
I like the cube, but the app is bad.
Generally speaking, kind of.
Kind of. Okay, because I like the feeling of the Ganai. I mean, it's not.
I don't know. It just feels so much worse than the Gan X, though.
No, it feels like a stock Gan X, like not set up.
Really?
Yeah, and my view, it's exactly the same feeling.
Oh, really? Because I feel like the Gan X feels like a completely different.
Well, yeah, but set up, it's very different. But if you get a stock Gan X, it feels just as like not good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like as soon as I started using the app, I was like a couple hours in, and I was like, "This is just like really annoying." Like it's just
the app is just garbage. It ruins it,
and like I tried to do the battle mode, and it just like wasn't working.
No, so, that's not a thing. Yeah.
It does. You do have charging it is very difficult, and it doesn't last that long.
Yeah.
I mean, I used it for probably like 2 or 3 hours and still had like over 50% left.
But over 50, no, it like on the app, I found that unless it's showing full charge, it doesn't work.
It doesn't actually display the.
Yeah, the percentage thing I found was completely irrelevant. Like. It was either fully, like if it was anything under the full green bar, it would have glitches. But if it was at the full green bar, which would last for maybe an hour, and then it worked perfectly. So it's like very deceiving.
Yeah, that's really strange. But yeah,
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I just felt like it wasn't really worth the price at all. Like I was.
Oh, definitely not.
I can't like recommend this to anyone. I don't know.
Right.
Because it's like it just didn't seem that the app was really glitchy. The cube wasn't super amazing for me at least. So I was like, and it's like $90. I was like, I don't know.
I get the value in a Bluetooth puzzle, but like you need a working app. That's just the bottom line. Like, if you like really could see, like the only way I could possibly recommend is like if you could really see using it in practice. But it's not this one. You got to wait a couple generations. Like it's got to have a working app, and that might never come.
Plus the main thing that really just bugged me is that like there was a good amount of times where I would start the solve and the time wouldn't start till a few seconds after I started solving. Which I was like, well, how many solves is this happening where I'm not noticing it? You know, where it's like starting a second or two after I start turning, and it's making me think that it's a faster solve. You know.
Right.
And then
but I found that it would happen. That only happened when the cube was on below full battery.
Yeah, exactly. That's the annoying thing though. Is like if it's not going to work the same way until it's dead, that's just really strange. Like if it has to be on full battery the whole time.
Yeah, but I found that it lasted on full battery for a decent amount of time. It's definitely a first generation product. So it's like, you have to know what its limitations are to use it properly, which is not a good user experience at all.
I feel like the Gaker Cube app was better than the GAN-I app. Like it seemed like it had less bugs.
I haven't tried it.
I didn't use it as much, so it's hard to say. But like from my experience, it seemed like it worked more smoothly. But the Gaker Cube just isn't that great of a cube. So yeah.
The GAN-I is a $90 party trick right now.
Honestly,
well, it's a $90 investment in the idea. So
exactly,
like it's like any first generation product. It's not gonna work perfectly, but at least you're letting them know that you do want the product, and then maybe they'll make it. So
it's a good point.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I think on the Cubicle the price has dropped. Right.
I think isn't on sale right now or something.
Yeah, but I'm curious if that's because it's not selling, or it's actually on sale. Because I remember seeing it. Let's see, GAN-I. No, it's not on sale anymore. Never mind.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But yeah, I mean, like my GAN-I review is like the harshest I've been on a cube in a long time. Because most of the time, like. There's just not too many bad things to say about puzzles. Like most of the time, it's like, yeah, this is like mostly good, you know. But then it's like that cube. I was like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't like about this, but you know, oh well. But I think it'll get better. It's just, I guess we'll see what they end up doing to improve things.
Right.
Yeah, they need a working stat page. Like for me, the reason I would get a Bluetooth cube is like for the stats if I'm practicing.
Exactly.
And their stat page is garbage. Like it's like you can't even half the time you can't even tell extrapolate any information from the data they're giving you. Like you can barely even see the graphs, and there's no way to zoom in on them. Like
right. Yeah. That's a problem. You should definitely be able to export the data too to work with. And do some, you know, because like people want to like run their own tests. Like I feel like any.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I feel like any stats based thing should always allow you to export the data, because like nobody can expect to get every statistic that somebody could want to know about themselves, you know. So like I think they should put the basics there and then really just let you sort of play around with it from there.
Yeah, is there a CS timer integration yet?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that would be way more useful. Because I think you can do that with the Gaker Cube.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if I can. Let me check.
Yeah, that was something that I said. As I was like, as long as all the statistics and functionality of this puzzle is just locked to the app, like it's not going to be like people are going to want to use it in different ways. And it's like, if you take the app away, it's just a normal cube. At that point, it's like, well, there's not much you can really do with it.
Right. It's definitely not worth $90 for the cube.
Yeah.
Especially since it's not competition legal.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think there's no reason to spend $90 on it just for the sake of the puzzle. But yeah.
Yeah. So I pulled up CS, and under the Bluetooth option and timer, it just says Gicker Connect.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just Gicker Cube.
Right. Which makes sense because that's been out longer.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it should be. I would imagine there would be GAN compatibility eventually.
Hopefully.
But yeah. I don't know. Oh yeah, I have an answer for the most disappointing cube for me.
Okay.
Going back to that, two answers. The Tanglong, I did not like.
Me neither. Yeah.
And finally, the most disappointing cube, the X-Timer XV6 Anti-Pop 3x3 Speed Cube. Because the Guatemala Times said it was the best 3x3 of all time. And I got it, and it was not the best 3x3 of all time.
I think our new Cubing in the News is going to tell us the new best 3x3 of all time.
That's true. Maybe the Guatemala Times aren't that trustworthy after all, but we shall see.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. The X-Timer XV6 Anti-Pop 3x3 Speed Cube is the best puzzle I've ever tried.
Well,
how about the D1 IQ brick?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that answers the most disappointing cube. Jesse, you are asking the next question.
Okay. From Logan DR for Phillip, what would you consider your biggest cubing accomplishment to be?
Getting a sub-7 official average.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay. Also, do you have a dog?
Yeah, my immediate family at home has a dog. I haven't.
What kind of dog?
Pembroke Welsh Corgi.
Yes, it's the same as my dog. Wait, does he have a tail?
Not really. No.
Oh, okay. Because like I wish my dog had a tail. Like they cut his tail off, and I'm like sad about it. So.
No, I don't think my dog has a tail.
Loaf?
Yes. He is a giant loaf of bread. All right, and then what would your 3 desert island cubes / events be?
So, this question is meant to determine what my top 3 events are.
I imagine.
I guess essentially,
top three cubes or something.
Okay, so I would bring a Mega Minx and a 3x3 and a 5x5. Yeah.
That's a good
Solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
like that. Cool. And just curious about, so your sub-7 being your proudest cubing accomplishment, or your biggest cubing accomplishment. Like, can you sort of say more about that? Like, how long? Like, was that like a goal that you've had for like a long time or something, or like?
Yeah. When I started cubing, nobody was sub-7, and then eventually Felix got the sub-7 average, and still for years nobody got sub-7. So it always seemed like this barrier that was just like, if you could get there, like, then you accomplished everything in cubing. And
right.
And for me, like, I had been sub-7 at home for almost a year when I finally got the official average, and I had gotten so many averages that were very low 7. I had 2 7.02 averages. I had like 7.1, 7. I had a bunch of 7.2s. So for me, I was really proud of that because I did a challenge, the sub-7 challenge, and I specifically practiced performing under the pressure of a competition and figuring out how to control my nerves. So for me, the sub-7 average is not really about the average itself. It's more about developing this skill to perform in competition. And I've done like so many sub-7 averages now. I perform much better in competition. I'm much more consistent because that is what I value the most, being consistently at my highest level. So, and for me, that's the most exciting and interesting part of cubing is trying to figure out how to perform under that pressure and in all sorts of different environments. Because sometimes I'm really, really tired, or I'm really sick, or, you know, something else is going on in my life, and just being able to focus in on those 5 solves and in the competition and throw down a good average. I'm really proud of that. So I guess as an extension of that, I was really proud of my sub 7 average at the World Championship. I was proud of making the finals, getting 8th place in the finals, because that was all like that was all applying the preparation I'd done, the very specific preparation to perform under pressure. So for me, like the sub 7 was I guess the specific goal, which motivated me, but really it was a goal to overcome the block, because for a long time it was like if I got close to a sub 7 average, I would get really, really nervous because I knew it was coming. There was a situation in Toronto where I was at a comp. Bill Wang was there. He was watching me. It made me very nervous. And he got a 704 average that round, and I got 702, but I definitely choked. On the last solve, the sub 7. So yeah. That's why the sub 7 averages mean a lot to me, because I think it represents like a totally different level in cubing performance that I just recently achieved. So yeah.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That is really cool. Really inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Jesse, right? You could probably agree with me here that we have never thought about that. Have you?
No. I mean, I kind of gave up my hopes and dreams of getting fast like many, many years ago. So, yeah.
And I never cared.
Yeah.
But it's just an interesting perspective to hear, because I know that DG, you've worked on nerves before.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in the Nationals 2018, you were like dialed in. Because at that time, I was still trying to figure out how to perform under nerves. So I was watching everyone, like trying to figure out what people did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I was watching you. I saw you did like listening to headphones, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that honestly, that helped so much. Yeah, that was a really big
I don't
thing.
do that at all. I don't listen to music. Yeah, I just stay quiet.
Yeah. I basically, for me, I need a distraction from my thoughts. And music provides that, because it's just like, you know, it's just there. It's hard to think when there's that stimulation, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of been helpful for me.
I do that. The closest I've come to, like, because in cubing I'm not fast, so the closest I come to that is before tests, like exams and midterms and finals. I always listen to music. And for me, it's that the music helps portray a certain feeling and like gets me in a mindset more than like distracting me. It's like I could still be thinking what I normally would be thinking, but yeah.
The problem I had with that is that I associate because I did try that for a long time, and a lot of the music I listen to, even if it's super generic and I've listened to it like hundreds of times, so it's just background, I tend to associate it with a certain feeling, and if that conflicts with the thoughts I'm having, it's very like stressful and distracting. So I found that like getting into some sort of zone where I'm just not paying attention to anything is a lot more consistent. And also, especially in these big competitions, because I started wearing earplugs as well during my solves to like kind of drown out the noise. So yeah, I go into some sort of trance when I do official solves now. So
yeah, the other thing about the headphones is that it blocks outer noise, not just provides inner noise.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing. I mean, for me, the music I generally listen to is sort of like trance-inducing in that way. Like I never have like hype music on. You know, I don't have anything like fast-paced, because that's just gonna get me all jittery and everything. Right. It's always stuff that I can like close my eyes and like meditate to if I want to, basically.
That's like, interesting.
Yeah,
I am not that way. I hype myself up. Yeah.
10-hour Minecraft music.
Well, I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's how I hype myself up. No.
Right. No, but like Adam, something that interests me too is like, you know, you say like in cubing, you haven't experienced this, but I know that like, you know, you get nervous occasionally if you have a goal, right? when you go up to do your solves. Like there's still nerves.
Yeah.
I think it's not something, I don't think it just applies to like fast people. I think it's like at any speed, if you have a goal that you're trying to achieve, I think it's really just about like trying to control your nerves so you can perform at like your highest potential, like Phillip was saying.
Sure, but I don't have the eyes on me. So that's how I feel it's different.
What I found is that it's most difficult to, because I've done these competitions where, you're doing solves in front of thousands of people, like world championship finals, nationals finals.
Yeah.
And I find that actually just solving at home in front of my dad is so much harder because like I'm my biggest critic, right? So I make myself the most nervous, and then like the people who are closest to me make me very nervous. But if a bunch of random people are watching me, like I don't get nervous knowing that they're watching me because I care about it more. So it's just like that. Yeah. So if I can figure out how to control my nerves in that home situation, it really doesn't matter that there are people watching me at the competition.
That's interesting. So it makes you nervous when people have vested interest in your solving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I can definitely get that. Because like just an example, when I was in Greece over the summer, I did like some cubing stuff there, and I did like basically some performances and things like that, where like my responsibility was to solve a pyraminx fast for like a big audience. But none of these people were cubers. I mean, like some of them were, but not many, right? So like anybody there, if I solve a pyraminx in like even 5 seconds, 6 seconds, like they're going to be impressed, Yeah. So like I actually found that I got some really good solves in that situation, in like those situations, because there was no pressure. Like it wasn't like it was, being timed or like legit being timed or anything. And like, they're going to be impressed no matter what. But I guess like, when it comes down to results that actually affect me, and like also when people, because I feel like when you are in a big final, people do have some expectation for you. I think that's sort of what scares me. And I think that's part of the reason. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I try not. I tend to think that nobody cares about me. It's a much more, it's a much easier way to go about it. So if I was thinking about like, because I do receive a lot of these comments when I do Twitch streams. So a lot of people are like there supporting me and they're like wishing me good luck and stuff. And but I appreciate that, but I try not to think about that at all. Because it's very distracting. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get what you said though earlier about like I'm way more nervous solving in front of like a few new people that like haven't seen me solve before ever than I am solving at a competition.
Oh yeah, I had this experience.
It makes me so nervous, and I just lock up horribly, and my hands get all shaky, and I'm like, why does it matter? Like these people are going to be impressed even if I get a 30-second solve. Like it literally doesn't matter.
So I had when I at like my second competition, I think, or maybe third competition, I had this kind of experience in a competition. Because my dad's friends, or apparently they were my friends when I was a very young kid, they came over to like watch my competition, and I got really, really nervous. And I was the fastest person there by a couple seconds, right? I was averaging like 12 seconds at the time, and the winner of the competition got like 14 seconds, because during my round, I got so nervous that I messed up the solve, and then I was like, oh, that was terrible because it wasn't going well. So I slowed down, and then I ended up getting a 26, I think, and then I got a DNF. I got a DNF on another solve, so I ended up getting an average that placed me in the spot just not making finals. Like, so I didn't even make finals and I won 2x2, and that was my first win. But that really haunted me for a long time, because I felt like if I make the finals of that competition, I have a very good chance of winning. But after that, I just never had a chance. And I didn't win a competition until 2016 or 2017.
Wow.
And
that's crazy.
Yeah, and that was with a 748 average. So
it's rough. That's insane.
Yeah.
Huh. Hey, it kept you going though.
But I think it was an aspect of nerve, because I for a long time I got second place at literally every competition I went to. I was always getting second place. Like I'd win the first 2 rounds, and then Blake would beat me in the finals, or I'd win the first 2 rounds, Drew Brads beat me in the finals. or like Ken and Lejeune beat me in the finals. It's like every single comp, like I'm dominating the first 2 rounds, and then I had some sort of mental block that just crushed me in the final round where I'd choke. And yeah, and I talked to Drew Brads about this, and he said like once you get one, it just starts flowing. Like that just opens the floodgates, because you realize once you realize something's possible, you lose all of the mental barriers. And I found that was very true, because after I won that, like now I win every competition. So it's and it's not like I'm that much better. It's just
right.
Yeah. It's like the pressure's off.
Yeah.
The first one's always the hardest one to get. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's always like the big goal too, right? Like nobody's goal is to win 2 competitions.
Right. Honestly, like when you talk to when I talk to my non-Cuber friends, it's easier just to say that I won the competition. Like when they ask me how it went, you know, like if I have to say, I won the first 2 rounds and then I got like second in the last round, they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
You say like, no, I won. Easy.
Yeah.
It's always kind of annoying to have to constantly explain to people that I'm not actually fast. It gets tiring. Like every single time I go to a comp, I get back and everyone's like, "Did you win?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah,
right.
That is the benefit of being fast. It does decrease that social anxiety.
Sure. Yeah. Like that, I got those questions about Worlds. I'm like, I went to World Championships.
Right.
That I won. World Championships. I'm like, I got like 300th place. Like, chill.
Yeah, you weren't there to compete for the top spots.
No, that's what I always have to explain. I'm like, I mostly don't go to any comp to win anything. Like I've never placed in anything. So I don't go to any comps to win. So
right.
And then they're like, I don't understand why you would do that. Well,
friends exist.
It's weird because it is so like I feel like cubing isn't the sort of thing where you can go and be like everybody has an equal chance of winning. It's so not that, you know.
Yeah.
Like going into a competition, you know, like the 3 or 4 people who might win, you know. And like at least for local comps, usually it's probably like maybe 2 people who really have a shot, you know.
Yep.
And like, it's not like I never go to a comp and think I could win 3x3 here, right? Like, no, if they're not having events I'm good at, like there's no
winning at a cubing competition is doing well by your own standards.
Exactly.
Yes.
If you just happen to be the best person there, then you end up winning the competition. But like,
exactly,
it depends so much on who else is there that it's not really that meaningful.
I know I always have to explain to people that like the goal is not to try and win against other people, but to try and beat your previous records, like against yourself,
or even just perform at the highest level. Like, sometimes the scrambles just aren't good enough to get your records. So
right, definitely. True. Like, I mean, that's very true, especially for like, you know, as a pyramid sky.
Yeah,
that's very
scramble dependent.
Like, you know, very much so. Like I remember at nationals in 1 round, I got like a 2.7 average or something, which is like, you know, slightly better than my global, but I was not happy with it because the scrambles were better than a 2.7.
Right. But if the scrambles were really hard, you would be like super pleased about it.
Right. I would be thrilled. Yeah. About a 2.7. Yeah. But like, so it's just, it's interesting. Yeah. It is definitely about just performing at your highest potential, I feel.
Yeah.
Or not even the highest, but like close to it. I guess. Because I feel
top 10% is usually good for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think top 25 even is still pretty good. Because like, you know, I don't like beating myself up after a comp and being like, oh, if I didn't lock up right there, like, you know, there are always going to be some slight lockups, but
yeah, my most recent comp, I did have a pretty easy scramble on this average and I totally choked it, and the average was still pretty good. So I was like, oh man, that could have been amazing, but it doesn't really bother me. You know, it's just like, oh, noted. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
I'm still not over my Nats round 1 3x3 average. That still gets to me because I was doing so well that day. Like I was getting so many good solves, and I was like fully predicting that I could pretty easily get a PB average because my PB average was like really old, and I was like, I can beat this. And then I got a 16 in a DNF, and I was like, well.
I don't think about breaking records anymore because I don't find that that's the best way to perform well. Because breaking records is sometimes pretty scramble dependent. So
for sure, yeah.
I just think like do the best solve I can on this solve.
Yeah, like the scrambles were okay in that round. I just messed up many times. So
yeah. No, you're probably right, Phillip. But like, I had a 3-year standing 3x3 average record, and it was like weighing on me that I needed to beat it. Like, just because it was 3 years old, and like
3 years,
I averaged so much less than it. Yeah. So
there's a point where breaking your record does matter. Like I had a Megaminx average. My best Megaminx average in comp was a 39.1, and I got 39.1 in the finals of Worlds. I got 39.1 or 39.2 in the finals of Nationals, and it was also my best average. So I was really frustrated because I felt like I can get way better than this, and I did like 2 weekends ago. But and that like when you know that you're not doing your best, then break. Yeah,
I'm curious. Did you break it by a lot?
Yeah, I got 37.
Right. Okay. That's great. Yeah. So this same for me. Like I couldn't break a 1693 3x3 average. Like I couldn't get a sub 17. I kept getting low 17s, 17 ones, 17 twos. And then when I broke it recently at Carlisle, I got a sub 16.
Yeah.
So it's like I jumped it. It's like when you break it, you break it, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I feel like I'm going to randomly just pull out like a sub 10 average in 3x3. Like,
absolutely. You will.
Do it. Yeah.
Well, if you go to enough competitions, it'll happen.
It's just annoying because like where I live, there's only a few comps a year. So it's hard to compete that much.
Yeah. At this point, I'm kind of waiting on a good Para Scramble set because it's been a minute for me since I've had a set that was like really nice. But we'll see. I've got 3 rounds tomorrow, so that'll be fun. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. I wanted to return real quick to the music because I want to ask about like specifics for you, DG.
Yes.
So I'm aware of, was it Wind Waker?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you listened to Wind Waker when you won national champion for Pyramid.
Yes.
The soundtrack for Link, Legend of Zelda, right? That's what it was.
No, it's a remix.
It's a remix.
Yes, it's linked in the description of that video if anybody's curious.
Okay.
It's like yeah. That was what won Nats finals, and I'm pretty sure that's what I used for my 232 PR average currently. Recently, I've been trying other things because also the reason I used that specifically was because in life when I would get nervous, I would use that. And like it would calm me down. Like if I was ever like panicking about something, I would just put that on and I would calm down. Recently that has changed. So nowadays I haven't been using it as much. And generally if I'm nervous, I put on Astroworld.
I was just going to say Astroworld. Yeah.
Astroworld's been been the move recently for like just calming myself down. So that's what I've been trying. And yeah, I mean, like, it's resulted in some pretty good averages, but I might actually try Wind Waker again tomorrow, just because I haven't done it in a while, and it might bring back some feels.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's like, you know, it's a constantly, it's a learning process. You know, it's evolving.
I was gonna ask, right, because there's a large discrepancy between Wind Waker, which is instrumentals, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like very peaceful and calming, and like Astroworld is atmospheric music, but it's like also like psychedelic hip hop,
right?
Like,
yeah.
What's the shift come from?
It's just come from what I use in life. Astroworld is my meditation music.
Yeah.
When I need to calm myself down if I'm nervous about something. There was actually a time recently, like maybe 2 months ago, where I was just like feeling really nervous one morning for no reason, like just sort of freaking out, and like I just put my headphones on, started up Astroworld. 3 seconds in, I was calm. Like 3 seconds into stargazing, right? I just felt that like
I love
a snap. I was just good.
Astroworld is like both the most like chill but also hype album ever. Like when you listen to the album, it's like really chill, but then you watch the videos of the concerts and they're like these massive raves. from Astro World.
Oh yeah,
and you're like,
yeah,
how?
definitely.
Like,
yeah,
how does this man generate this much energy around these songs?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I saw it live. It was crazy.
Yeah. I was really close to going to an Astro World concert in Denver, and I didn't get to go. I was so sad.
Yeah, I wish I went.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think tomorrow I might try Wind Waker and just see, because I haven't done it in a while, and like I am just experimenting with it. But yeah, I haven't had any like insane results with Astro World either officially, and I've had some good ones with Wind Waker, so might as well try it again, see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A couple things I haven't tried. I have a sleep playlist I listen to every night when I go to sleep, and it's mostly lo-fi, but like some vibey music. Yeah. And then I have a very vibey playlist. It's like my sad boy hours playlist. But like I don't always listen to it when I'm sad. When I'm sad, I do always listen to it. You know that thing. Right. But but for like when I do listen to music to like get in a zone, recently there's one song that's been putting me there. That's like Psycho by Slow Tie and Denzel Curry. Like that song, it's like screamo rap. And for some reason, it is so meditative for me. Like it puts me there. It puts me there like instantly. Yeah. Like I could just sit completely still and just like focus straight into whatever I'm trying to do when I'm listening to that song.
Right.
It's interesting.
That's interesting. I can't do that with straight up screaming. The closest I've come is in World's Finals this year for Pyraminx. I was listening to The Remedy for a Broken Heart by X, which is like, yeah, you know it. But like, it's not screaming, but it's X, right? Like it's like a little bit weird, like intense, I guess, to an extent. But at the same time, the instrumental is like just him, like. Just you know what it is. But like that was like very calming, and that sort of like put me in a good state of mind, I feel. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't do full on screaming. That would hype me up too much.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Like I get calm hyped. Like my goal for a test is not to like calm my nerves because I'm not nervous. Right. It's just to be like. It's reassurance to be like, you got this. Like,
right. I think a test is very different from cubing, though.
Very different.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
Like, if you're taking a test and the problem is challenging, you have so much time to realize that it's challenging and then figure out what you're going to do and then work through it. There's so much time to deal with your energies. But in cubing, there's no time. No time is available for energy.
I mean, I would say there's a lot less time. For me, with a lot of different types of tests, you have to keep going. There's no time to really stop and think. But
it's still a different vibe.
No, I'm not arguing with that. It totally is. Yeah, literally, you have fractions of seconds to make decisions. I get that.
Right.
No, the point is that you can't spend any time. Like it. Yeah. The goal is 0. So
yes.
Ideally no time is spent. Right?
Right. Yeah.
And any time other than that needs to be minimized, you know.
Right. Also with cubing specifically, like the literal action is just different. Like, you know, your fingers aren't going to lock up on a test. Like you're not going to be writing and I don't know, I locked up on the S or whatever, right? Like that doesn't happen. But like
well,
it has actually happened to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's okay. You just cross it out and then you start over.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like, I mean, with cubing, I guess just the point is that it's so based on like specific fast actions.
I was never trying to make the argument that they're the same thing.
Yes.
Okay. But like,
I'm not even close. I know they're not the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, no, but one similarity that I notice is that they both bring you to a specific, like, at least for me, when I'm taking a test, you're in a specific mindset, like when you're out there competing or, you know, doing that test. And it's almost like you jump, I don't know if you guys experience this, like you jump time almost, like from when you zone in to when you zone back out, like it's almost like a time gap. of like what happened there, because you're in a completely different world. Like when I'm taking a test, I'm like completely locked in. It's like people can ask me as soon as I hand it in, "What'd you do for this problem?" I'd be like, "I don't know what problem you're talking about."
Yeah, definitely.
I don't remember.
Y'all are taking some hardcore tests. I have never experienced that, but okay. I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I've always been, I guess, a pretty good test taker though, so I don't really get that stressed. So I just kind of, I don't know, just do it. I try not to think about it too much. Like I feel like the problem is if I think about it too much, then I like get myself feeling nervous. But I just go in and I'm like, oh, it's a test today. Okay, let's do it. Like I try not to just kind of forget that it's even happening. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've also never been a big studier either, so that's probably why. I try to not.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I over prepare, it's gonna have the same effect. I'm just gonna be like super nervous, and I don't know. Like I've noticed that people that study the most on tests often don't do that well. Like
I try to prepare anywhere from not at all to a very small amount, because then I have no expectations.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I always do better than my expectations.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like glance at the study guide, glance through your notes real quick. All right, let's do it. Or it's like people come in with like stacks of cards that are all like stylized and highlighted.
We are all cubers, so we're clearly decent at memorizing lots of things. So
really.
Exactly.
No, it totally depends on the person, but something I've learned, because I used to for a while I used to beat myself up for not studying as much as I should be. And I wouldn't agree with you guys at the point like I like where you're saying like I try not to study that much. I feel like I should study an appropriate amount, but I don't. So recently I have not been, but I try to not beat myself up over it, because like I have to give myself more credit because I pay attention and I take good notes, and like people don't consider that, and that's study.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
my school strategy my school strategy has always been pay attention in class, and that's all you need to do. Like do the homework that's assigned.
Literally
And like the teachers do give you all of the resources in class and with the homework, that there's really nothing else to do. Like unless you didn't understand something, then you go back and you figure that out. But like I feel like most people don't pay attention at all in class. So I actually don't take notes at all because I find that it distracts me from paying attention in class.
I feel the same way about notes.
I'm victim to that, of just not paying attention in class. Like especially in high school, I slept through a lot of classes. Luckily, though, the teachers would always put stuff online, and that's the only reason why I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sleep because I got 2 hours of sleep last night, and I'm just gonna read the notes online when I get home.
Sleeping is also a very good way to study. If I ever have a test, I just go to bed, and then I know I'm ready.
No, for real. Like, I'm a math TA, right? So like, I tutor people, and like, they're like, oh, I gotta stay up and study. I'm like, are you? Like, what? Like,
you stand a better chance of figuring out how to do the math problem if you've slept, you know?
If you're sleep deprived, if you have no sleep and you're sleep deprived, you're not going to retain anything anyway.
And you also won't be able to figure anything out.
Yourself.
Doing a math exam, it's so important to have that problem solving capability. Because what if you don't know something? Then you have to figure it out on the fly. Like that's pretty hard.
Exactly.
It takes a lot of brain capacity. So
yeah, this is like all hitting home right now, because I just finished up midterms.
Me
like
too.
2 days ago. But so but I definitely I probably cumulatively studied for like 30 minutes for my 3 midterms. And so 2 of them went great. I can't say the same about the third, but and that the funny thing is that's the one I studied those 30 minutes for.
So the conclusion is don't study.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what kind of message are we sending here?
Don't study, sleep in class.
No, don't sleep in class. Sleep at home.
Yeah.
Be awake in class, sleep at home. Yeah. Good strategy.
Yes. I think that's a good move, definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
I've definitely had like the easiest school experience of all of you guys. So like, I never worried too much about tests and everything. Like, but yeah, I think that's the only way I was able to get away with actually sleeping through class, especially when I started taking college classes, because like my high school teachers wouldn't really let me, but then college teachers would, because they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Right.
That was great. That was that was a nice time. Just showing up to history class, sitting down, immediately falling asleep.
What's the point of even going to the class? Like,
because there was attendance points. At least I got the points. The teacher didn't care if I was asleep. I just had to be there.
Oh no,
that's a broken system.
Yeah, no, that's a problem.
Yeah.
What? The American education system broken?
Oh,
I
very
don't know
broken.
What you're talking
Obviously,
about. I don't know what you're talking about.
What a novel idea.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, welcome back to the American Educational System
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
I'm amazed I did as well in school as I did, honestly,
is-
like given everything that I did in school. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is Phillip Lewicki's biggest cubing accomplishment.
We've been on that question for like 30 minutes.
We have been on that question for a while. So I think, we should probably take the next questions relatively fast, so we can move on to cubing in the news and then wrap it up, as they say. I'm the only one who says that, honestly. But anyway,
I've never heard
on.
anybody say that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Nobody says it. But Staying Sharp has a question for us, for y'all. Now that you've been in the cubing scene for a while, has any of your perception of the cubing scene changed? Was it because you've matured, or was it because the cubing scene has matured, or both, or neither?
I think both. Like, it's definitely changed for me, but I think, I don't know if it's so much to do with how much other people have changed, but just from me growing up, because I started when I was so young. So I definitely have like a very different perception of a lot of cubers than I did when I started. So especially with like me, you know, being, I guess, like famous at competitions, like it feels way different now. So than it used to, because I used to be like the annoying little kid that, you know, everyone didn't want to talk to. And so I you know, it's been a big progression. So, but yeah. How about you guys?
Yeah. I think, the main reason my perceptions changed is just because I've gotten older. Like, you know, when you age, you just see everything differently, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously,
go for it.
Yeah. Like, the cubing community's changed too. Like, it's gotten a lot younger. That's the thing. Like, they're asking if the cubing scene has matured. It's matured as a community, but as a, like the literal meaning of matured, it has gotten a lot younger.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There are a lot of changes, but in general, I think, I don't know, that's kind of to be expected. I don't know.
Yeah, and my perceptions definitely changed when I started to get to know more cubers, like, more closely. Like, when it wasn't just like, oh, these are people that I watch online and stuff, but when I actually started becoming friends with people, it felt way different.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other thoughts, Phillip or Adam?
No thoughts.
Yeah. I think it's mostly an individual growth.
Yeah.
I
think that's the case for anything.
I was showing my roommate some of my videos, and like I ended up just going down the rabbit hole. And it's crazy. Like, I pulled up my first video, my most recent video, and it's been like, I think, approaching 7 years now.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same intro, but like, it's crazy to think like how consistent like I've been involved in the community for that long, and how much I've changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a little freaky. Not gonna lie, it's a little freaky. It freaked me out. I got pretty existential about it, but this is a large question. It's not a cubing question. It's like a life question. So I'm just gonna leave it.
Definitely.
I try not to think about it too much, because like when I think about like who I was when I started making videos, it was like such a different person from who I am now. But then I look back and I'm like, mostly kind of act the same in my videos as I do now. I'm like, that's really weird.
That is
try
weird.
not to think about it too much, you know.
I think it is interesting too, because there is definitely a persona. Like, we're all YouTubers. I think we can all speak to this. Like, there's sort of a persona that you put out. And like, I think for the most part, you try to get that persona to match yourself. But like, obviously there are things that like you can't do, right? Like, you know, you have to, you gotta be clean because the cubing community is very young.
Filter,
you know, yeah. There are various filters. I feel not just like literal like curse word filters, but just things that you don't want to put out there about yourself. I guess
there are a lot of filters.
Yeah, yeah,
definitely. Yeah, people tell me that when they meet me at competitions. They're like, "Wow, you seem very different in real life." And I'm like, I mean, I don't know what you were expecting, like talk like I do in my videos or something. Like, I don't know.
Oh no, I definitely can put on YouTuber voice.
Same. Yeah, I can. It's like a switch. I can turn it on any time, but I don't want to unless I'm recording a video.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey guys, why don't we move on to the next comment? I think that would be a good move though, actually, to move on.
Yes.
Unless we want to get more existential.
Let's not.
We haven't even touched anything existential yet. You do not want to try that.
I mean, we can make a comment that like life is continuously existential. There's always a question as to what everything is, and you just that's the point of life. You just got to consider this question constantly, and then distract yourself.
Yeah, I know. So distractions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
I'm
perfect time to move. I don't know. Do you want to move on?
Yeah. I think we should move on. But I am low-key down to revisit this podcast in a future episode and just go full on existential.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be a cubing podcast. It would be an existentialism podcast that happened. We talked about our experiences of existentialism through cubing.
Let's do it on the April 1st episode.
Sounds good.
I actually am down, very much down for that.
Let's do it. Phillip, you are welcome back too if you're interested.
Amazing.
All right. So anyway, moving on. Phillip, how long have you been cubing?
7.5 years.
Okay. Oh wow. Like same exactly.
Yeah, I started in May of 2012 about.
Ooh, okay. I started April 2012.
Yeah, around there. Probably the same.
Cool, yeah.
April, May, yeah.
Yeah. And they also want to know how long did it take you to get sub 8?
I think I got sub 8 at home. Ooh, when was that? Let's see. I think it took me 3.5 years to get sub 8 at home. And
that's
4
very good progress.
4 years officially. I don't know. I got to sub 12 very, very quickly. But
that's impressive.
So I have a little chart here for reference. And it took me about a year to get to sub 12. But then
a year to sub 12?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, and then 2 years to sub 10. And then like 3.5 years to sub 8. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
But
that's really impressive.
The faster I got, the less I practiced. So.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And now I don't practice at all. I will start practicing soon, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. All right. And Adam, ask the next question.
Phillip, what video are you most proud of? That's by Matthew Wilbur.
Matthew,
my proudest video is my recent World Championship 2019 video. I think it's a pretty good one. Yeah, I'm also very proud of my sub 20 giant cube solve because the YouTube algorithm is a big fan of that one. It blows up all the time. It's at like 1.6 million views. He gets like hundreds of thousands of views a month, Yeah.
That's great.
Proud of that.
We'll link them both in the show.
It's also my only world record, so very proud of it.
I just want to mention I've like really, really enjoyed all of your like nationals and worlds videos and stuff. Like I really look forward to them like every year. They're really good. Like I was going back and watching some of the older ones like last week, and they still hold up. Like they're really good. So
yeah,
it just
I love
brings me back, memories. So
yeah, your big comp videos are really good.
Thanks.
Yeah. We'll link both of your proudest videos in the show notes for those listeners who are wondering.
Just look up WCA Worlds 2019. It'll come up. Okay.
Cool.
I'm taking care of that. You guys keep going.
Okay. Jesse, would you like to ask the next question?
Okay, from Charlie Van Oren, what hobbies do you see as being the most similar to cubing / most likely that cubers will also like? I'm addicted to Tetris and wondering what else I should get into.
So I'm also extremely addicted to Tetris.
Same.
I play so much NES Tetris. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
I've been trying to learn hyper tapping recently. It's going. You know,
did you watch CTWC?
Of course, yeah. CTWC was great. It was very exciting.
Yeah. It was amazing.
So I think Tetris, honestly, is the most. It's the most optimal, similar hobby to cubing. I find that a lot of cubers.
Well, do you consider it a hobby or like a game? Like,
I mean, it's both.
It's because when you look at the levels of competitive Tetris that you see nowadays, it's it's like the levels of world-class 3x3 solving.
Okay, no, I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, like, isn't Tetris like a video game? Like, wouldn't that be like calling Minecraft a hobby? And I'm like,
right. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess
Minecraft is a lifestyle.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because like a Rubik's Cube is a toy, right?
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah. So. But yeah, it's definitely
no,
the levels we see. It's definitely
Okay. Yeah.
And wait, follow-up question, fun. Philip. I'm just curious, like what sort of stats you got in Tetris?
I've been practicing a lot recently. I spent a really long time trying to get 600K because I had a bunch of 500Ks, but recently I'm up to 700 something now.
Cool.
But I'm
what
playing
kind
on
of transition scores are we looking at?
My transition score is like my best ones are in the low to mid 600s. So
oh wow, that's really good.
My level 19 play, I get very aggressive. So I get like a couple Tetrises and then I top out. But I'm sure like if I practice more, I'll get to 800K, 900K.
Right.
But
legit, yeah.
My goal is to max out the game, basically. It's always been my goal. But I'm playing on emulator, so I'm not sure.
Right.
It's kind of hard on emulator with the input lag.
Yeah. I am just getting into it. So like I'm more of a so like I guess I got more into it recently by being a Tetris 99 player.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of that over the summer, like an hour every day probably. And then like recently at school I've been playing NES Tetris on emulators.
Yeah.
But I do have it. I have an NES.
You have an NES? Oh my gosh.
I have an NES with Tetris, yeah.
Do you have a CRT?
I do, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I need one of those.
Well, I actually no, I don't have a CRT, but I have a TV that is compatible with it, so it's fine.
Well, it's not, I mean, if you use an HDMI TV, there is still a lag.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I should.
Any sort of conversion creates a lag. But I don't know. It doesn't really matter until
it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
until you're getting to the highest level. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I'm gonna have to figure that out.
I do want to get into competitive Tetris because like recently, like when I got the 700K and then I also got like 670 something. And so I got scores that would have qualified for the most recent CTWCs. Yeah. So then it's like, whoa, like I'm getting there. Yeah, that's
crazy.
You know, like
that is really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I mean, the fact that we're seeing double max outs officially is crazy.
Right. But, I just rewatched that about an hour ago.
Yeah, no, that was an insane game. But yeah, no, like I think it's still so young that you can just get into Tetris now and be really good.
For sure.
Like I don't know. I improve slowly at a lot of things. So like I'm still starting at level 9 when I play.
Yeah.
But like
it took me recently, I started in February and it took me a very, very long time to even finish to get to transition from 18.
Okay, right, yeah.
But
I mean, the best I've done, I think I've gotten I've gotten to level 13 from level 9, which is like, I guess 130 lines, 140
Are you using a
like
keyboard?
That. I am, yeah. I mean, I'm playing very casually still. But,
I switched to an NES controller
oh, nice.
in the summer, and I found that it's really helpful because it's not necessarily like easier to play with it, but you can play for a lot longer. It's a lot less fatiguing. So you get more practice. Yeah. And then also it prepares you for the actual game. I don't know.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm also very into chess. In terms of other hobbies, I've been training my chess.
I was going to mention that too.
I watch so much chess. Like if you ever come hang out with me, I'm never cubing. I'm either watching chess or playing Tetris. Or watching Tetris, you know, like I got JDMFX, Nubbins Goody all pulled up, Super Saiyan, you know, I got all the Tetris channels, I got the chess.com pulled up, you know, but
yeah, I think chess is definitely up there as far as things. That was a big tangent for those who aren't interested in Tetris.
Well, I think any other kind of sport like that requires like a certain degree of being able to plan ahead and kind of think forward is kind of similar to
because
cubing.
Tetris and chess are both about speed and pattern recognition.
Exactly. Yeah.
So. Sure. And if you're decently good at that, which if you're a cuber, you're probably pretty good at pattern recognition. Then Tetris and chess, these are very pattern recognition focused games. So
yeah,
especially with chess, like being able to think ahead too, kind of like I guess like look ahead a little bit, but
yeah.
I don't really play much chess, so I don't.
Well, chess is a bit different because it's more so like brute force calculation, like it's whereas look ahead in both Tetris and in cubing is about like seeing options come up and then like just knowing how to solve them. But in chess, you not only have to notice the options, but you have to accurately calculate all the lines, which can become very challenging. So it's much more concrete. Chess is very brutal in how concrete it is.
Yeah. I just remember watching a video of someone who was like playing, like just practicing chess against like a really high level computer or something like that. And he was just like sat back and he's like, all right, let's look at everything we could do. And he just rattled off every single move that he could possibly make. And I was just like, what am I looking at right now? Yeah. I felt like a non-cuber in that moment, like watching someone do something.
Right. I feel like any hobby that's been like so perfected, like to that level, is just I totally lost my sentence. Like it sounds like not English when you listen to people talk about it.
Yep. Yeah, I always have to be careful about that when I talk to people about cubing. I'm like, I have to think, okay, what are all the terms that they would realistically understand? You know?
Definitely, yeah. So that's important for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess so. We should probably move on to our final question, and then we can do cubing in the news. But yeah. So the final question. Let's go rapid fire because this person asked 3 questions. So this is a heavy question, but we'll go fast. We'll do, how about me, then Phillip, then Adam, then Jesse.
Okay.
All right. Question number 1. Are you guys for or against the removal of feet? Against.
I'm for.
For.
Ouch. Okay. I got a video on that coming out soon.
I will say 4 with a caveat, as long as they replace it with something else. Like I think they should keep it at 18, but if they remove feet, they should add something else in.
I disagree. Okay, so. I don't think we should be adding events. I think we should be taking away events.
Ooh.
Really?
Wow. Ooh, so I've got a video on this coming out soon.
Yeah. So I actually too many. Yeah, but I like most of the events that are there, except for feet. But like, I'm not a huge fan of clock. I think Scube is kind of, It's fine, I guess. I would like to see a team event though. I'd really love to see a team event.
I just feel like team events would be really hard to practice. Like,
but I still think it would be amazing. Some sort of team event. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, as like you said, it would be hard to practice. That might be a good artificial limitation to how good the team event can get. You know, you have to work within the bounds of geography for like who your teammates are.
Yeah, because like it's like you would have to just practice over like Skype or something, and then only actually get a small amount of practice together in person before you have to compete. And I don't know. It just seems like it would kind of exclude people that don't know anyone that is into it too. Like if they want to compete, but they don't know anyone that wants to compete, like, or that they're friends with that wants to compete. I don't know. I mean,
no, you could have freelance team event sign up. Yeah.
I guess just random pairing.
Yeah, random pairing. I think it'd be fun to have something with more than one cuber, some sort of relay or team event, a team blind. I don't know, something.
It would be cool. Yeah. But
or just like collaborative like, FMC. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like team blind is
collaborative FMC. Oh, God. Well, let me just say, as the New Jersey record holder for Skewb single, I just want to say that. I am as an idealist, I think that I don't think this is at all practical. I would love to see an entire refresh, to be honest, like strip it down to the bones and like put in a bunch of new events. But
I think it would be more interesting to have just alternative organizations that do like totally different. Because I feel like the WCA is very focused on, I guess, sort of vanilla cubing events, like the standard ones, and the way we do it is very, very like serious competitive. Like it's very well regulated. Everything. I think it would be interesting to have something that's more like spectator aimed. I don't know. I thought the Red Bull thing was interesting.
Right.
I'd like to see more things similar to that, where it's like it's cubing, but it's not like directly competing with the WCA, but it's like a different thing, different sort of competition.
WCA,
you know?
Yeah, WCA #2, Electric Boogaloo. I never considered that because, like, I always considered working within the confines of the organization that we already have, but nothing is stopping us from like.
Well, I think sponsors would have to organize, like people, like organizations like Red Bull would have to put this on because. Yeah. If there were more, there was a bigger variety of types of tournaments, I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, well, like at the Red Bull competitions, there's only 3 events, so they could very well add more.
And that's interesting. Yeah. Like, and
yeah, it's just interesting because I feel like there's still a fairly good amount of cubers that don't really like the Red Bull competition. So
well, okay, but that. For me, like I wasn't a huge fan of it just because it's Red Bull, you know. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Red Bull, but like if it was a different sponsor, the event itself I felt was pretty spectator friendly, and like if anybody's gonna put money into speed cubing, I'm for it because I think any sort of I think the most impressive part about the speed cubing community to me is how volunteer based it is and how even though there's so many people, like nobody really makes money from it. Like the only way to make money from it is to be like a top 5 iconic cuber or to be like a YouTuber essentially. Like otherwise you're not really going to be deriving income from being like a good speed cuber. But I think it's so non-profit that like it's almost to a fault. Like it's limiting the growth of the community. Like
for sure.
I read this thing about chess once that was like theorizing that there are probably 100 people in the world that have better potential than the current world champion, but the pay in chess is not high enough to justify investing that time and becoming good. And like, if you look at cubing, it's even more extreme. Like the outcome, like if somebody is a genius, right? And they're looking between cubing and becoming, I don't know, some like NASA scientist, like that's probably a terrible example because of the pay, but you know, like they're doing to do a startup or something, like or become a doctor. Like there's not a good enough incentive for people to really invest the time in cubing. And I think if there was more money in it, people would be better and it would grow the community.
It's an interesting perspective.
Because like right now, everyone that does it basically is saying like, oh, I really love this hobby so much. I'm like, income from this hobby is like a plus, but nobody goes into cubing expecting to get any money, even if they're the best in the world.
Right.
And frankly, like having money in something is essential if people want to be doing it beyond high school years. Like,
right.
So
that's true beyond high school, I think. But also at the same time, I think hobbies in general aren't as promoted as they should be. And I think that's more of a problem with society than anything.
We live in a society.
As it stands now, I agree that money is important to keep people cubing after like high school and stuff. But like, I mean, like for me, I'm staying in this no matter what.
Right.
Know?
So am I. But
and you know, that's like right. Like that's for.
But
us.
I think it would be great if I could actually like, if I could derive an income from being a competitive speed cuber.
Definitely.
Because for me, the only way to do it is through YouTube. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and the only way that's going to happen is with sponsorships. Like that's how you know, like
exactly.
E-gaming is kind of, or esports have kind of gotten off. It's just with sponsorships
and like esports, right? Like these guys are bigger than most professional league athletes. Like I mean, cubing is obviously pretty tiny, but I think it could be interesting because I was really happy to see what Red Bull was doing, trying to make it more spectator friendly, like having very simple events, easy to understand. I think having head-to-head competition is super essential. Like, for example, in the CTWC, like Tetris is an individual game, but when you pair two people together, it suddenly becomes exciting for everyone. You know, like...
Yes, I fully agree.
But if you have a cubing competition and just like a bunch of people are going up and doing solves, it's only interesting to cubers. Like, who really cares? There's no narrative to follow. Nobody can understand it. And if there was something that was more like head to head, it would be really awesome. And I want to see that happen within my life.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think one of the difficulties when I compare cubing to Tetris, because like I think Tetris is one of the hobbies that does it best with making it spectator friendly. And like I think the difficulty with cubing is that it is inherently quite short. So like, you know, watching two people just solve a 3x3 against each other, I feel like it's hard to announce, you know?
And there's also the problem that the subtlety and the complexity of what's going on is impossible to convey. Whereas in something like chess, it's very easy to convey because they can be sitting there for hours with an engine analyzing the position, providing variations. And then people can appreciate the skill. But in cubing, you just see them solve. Like the only people appreciating the skill are the people up there solving. Nobody else can even perceive that there's stuff.
It's the same thing with Tetris too. Like, you know, you see a cool move, right? Like I spin or something. Like, you know, that's cool stuff to see, right? Like, and like, even if you don't know the game, you can still look at it and say, oh, that's not how I would play it.
Right.
Right. Like, even if you've only played the game like once before, you know? But like, with cubing, it's like, oh, that's not how I would solve it because I can't solve it.
Exactly.
No, like I've had those reactions where like I show some non-cuber like a world record video or something, and it's like, wow, that's really impressive, but they really have no idea the amount of work that went into it. You know, like how much practice it actually took and how long that person's been going for that world record, or like just like the amount of just like sheer time it took. You know, so it's definitely harder because it goes by so quickly and it just seems so fluid and natural.
To me, what's most missing from the cubing scene is like appreciating the beauty of cubing. Like there are some solves that are just really beautifully executed, or like there's some really efficient solutions, and that's like the reason I started my breakdown series, was to like try and show non-cubers what good cube solves were like, because I felt like unless you were like a top 100 in the world cuber, you just weren't seeing these things that like these top cubers are seeing. And it's just like, it's lost. Like nobody, and it's really beautiful. And I think it's important to share art.
That is really cool. And like, I like that reasoning for making the breakdown videos. Cause like, you see people do like reconstruction videos and stuff, but I feel like it's not the same thing as what you're trying to do with that, you know? Like, I definitely feel like with your breakdown videos, you are trying to show like really like the cool stuff that people do in like world-class solves. And that's like, that's really cool. Very admirable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyone have any funny non-cuber interactions?
I have a pretty good one. This was Nationals 2012 actually. And my aunt, who lived in Vegas at the time, she came with like me and my parents to the venue, and we went into like the vending room, like where they were selling cubes, and she picked up like a Yushin 11x11, like the really old one, and literally just like did a half a turn, and the whole thing exploded. That was cool. Enjoyable to watch because like I think it was E3 Cube Store, like the owner, he got like kind of mad. Why did you have to pop 11x11? I have to fix it now.
Oh man, that's awful.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
Wow. All right, and then does anybody else have a non-cuber interaction?
Yeah,
I don't have any great ones. Go for it, Adam.
I've said this one. But
yeah,
I cube in school. Well, not as much anymore, but like in high school I did. Like I had no problem like doing it in public. Like some other people prefer not to do that. I liked to, so I did that. And we had a substitute teacher once, and he told me when he saw them, he said, "Put those play toys away."
Hey,
I was like, hey. He was like, hey, put those toys away. And I was like, I want to use some choice words, some choice language right now, but I'm not going to.
Right.
That reminds me of middle school of how I got like all of my friends into cubing in middle school, and then we all started cubing at school, and then the teachers got really mad at us and they like banned cubes from the school. Yeah.
I feel like if you're not responsible for something being banned, like, are you even really that into it?
Yeah. Put those playthings away.
I love that too, because like it just so invalidates you.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that like your livelihood is just, it comes down to play toys. Like,
put those children's toys away.
Yeah. Like hearing that from somebody who's not a cuber, just, you know, sort of making fun of each other.
That's the thing. It's 100% who it's coming from.
Yes,
I say
definitely.
That.
Yeah. Like I say it too. It is
They're
true.
toys, but it's like it's totally who it's from, you know?
Yeah. And so we tried to do this rapid fire, but it didn't quite work. Let's go real fast for this final question.
Well, I think this is an important question.
This is
Can't
an
take
important
it too
question.
quick. Yeah, we gotta give it
its
time.
We'll go through and say yes and no, and then we can follow up on that a little bit.
Okay.
From just your average cuber, his third question is, were your parents first supportive of you getting into cubing, or did they think it was a dumb hobby? My parents were supportive from the start.
Mine were extremely supportive.
Same.
Yeah.
And that's why we're all cubers.
Wow. Yeah.
Parents that aren't supportive don't make any sense to me. Like, why would you rather, like, what are you wanting your kid to do instead? Like, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Like, especially when I got into it, I was right at the age where, like, I could have started, like, playing video games and, like, just wasting a lot of time. And then my mom, like, didn't let me. She was like, go solve your Rubik's Cubes. I was like, okay.
Yeah, no.
I was like, that sounds pretty fun.
Okay.
That sounds pretty fun. Yeah,
I have a clear image of you going like, okay, and then you waddle away. And
that's literally what it would have been.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, no, but like I definitely think like that's a good point. But like I've heard of parents who are very like academically focused, and they basically want their kids to just focus on school so they can get into an Ivy League and then succeed in life. Well, plot twist. The way you get into an Ivy League is by doing things like cubing.
Yeah, like to get into good schools, you need like interesting extracurriculars.
You
like,
definitely do.
How would you know, DG?
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is, I feel like no matter what, a lot of those parents, no matter how many examples you give them of people who cube and succeed with cubing, even if it's not an Ivy League school, right? Like who have done crazy things with cubing. Like no matter how many examples you give them, I feel like they're not going to see it that way. Because like it's just a very strong misconception.
Well, cubing is just such a good educational tool. Like
it totally is. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great way to build social skills. It's a great way to build learning skills. Yeah. I mean, and if you get in, a lot of cubers get into the YouTube game, and that's a whole nother level. Like that's so many more skills, like learning how to not care about other people's opinions and learning how to have self-confidence. I think for me, like cubing has been the source of basically all my learning in terms of like essential life stuff, and it's like a vessel for doing things.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't have my job now if it wasn't for cubing. Like, it kind of like sparked my passion for like movies and stuff like that. Like, I really want to work on movies, and that's because I started making videos and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah. So
it is. I think we can all agree on something that it's like the single most impactful thing in all of our lives. Like, it's definitely. Like it's social. Like Phillip said, like socially. Oh, for sure. Like, I can't even imagine where I'd be right now. Like, it would probably be bad if I didn't have.
And cubing. Also, and another aspect of the social thing is like, it gives you that confidence that like you are doing something with your life, and like, whenever I would talk to random people, most people would already know that like I'm a cuber, and it would give us something to talk about. Something to get the conversation started.
And people always assume that you're really smart too. That's always a nice bonus.
They assume what?
They always assume you're really smart, like when they find that out.
Yeah, and that is kind of annoying, but
I mean, it's interesting because at the same time that is very helpful for for life in general. You know, like I feel like I can't imagine myself going to like a job interview or anything like that without having cubing be at least a topic of discussion at some point. You know?
I just went for an interview where I got an internship for the summer, and I pulled out a cube. I pulled out my Gen I. Like, and I got the internship. Like,
there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Like, use cubing to get their jobs. Like, it
I
wrote
about cubing. DG and I both wrote about cubing for our Common App, and we got into our school. Look, so the social thing also creatively. Like,
yes, it's great. Yeah. So much creative energy.
Like, it taught me to, like, when I have an idea, to just like go and try to do it. Like, all of it's through cubing. And number one for me is just in general as a person, like, it's given me the life experiences to like mature as a person. Like, Australia did so much for me. I've never traveled that far by myself. Right. And it was like my first taste of like true 100% purified independence. That's what it was. Like, no strings attached. It's all you. Go to the other side of the planet. It's all you.
Yeah. Right. That's why it was so amazing for me. Like, yeah.
And then we go to Baltimore and can't rent a hotel room.
This is a good story. Do you want to briefly tell it?
Yeah, I'll briefly tell it. Yeah. Okay. So, you know, Adam and I went across the world. We went to Australia, right? In Melbourne, we got an Airbnb. We stayed there. You know, we totally took care of ourselves and everything, full on independence, right? And then after that, we come back. We have a couple weeks chilling in New Jersey, and then we go off to Baltimore for nationals. We get there kind of late, like a little past midnight, because we left pretty late. And it's the night before the competition and everything. And, you know, I go to check into the hotel room that I booked. And they say, "Oh, you're not 21. you can't check into the room.
What?
Yeah.
I thought it was 18.
It's
18 like
In Maryland,
else.
it's not.
Right.
In Maryland, it's 21.
What?
Yeah. And so, like, we went across the world, right? And we were fine.
Yeah.
But Baltimore, no.
I checked in the hotel room without being the one who is like named on the reservation. Like, I just went to the hotel. I was like, "Can I check in? My friend isn't here yet." And they're like, "Okay." Like in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I get to Baltimore and I'm stranded for 9 hours because signal isn't there. Yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Struggles of American life. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. I live in Canada now.
It's just nothing.
It's a bit different.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to Toronto. That's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That's exciting.
We're going on a road trip. It's going to be
Road trip.
I'll see y'all there. Should be fun.
Yeah.
Yay. You just can't overestimate like the life experiences it teaches you.
Mhm.
Just like where it takes you.
For
like,
sure.
That's
it
the
expands
thing, like,
expands the possibilities. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And what you said,
all of my time.
about like doing, like when you want to do something, you just do it. Like, and that cubing, like I talk to so many people and they're like, how do you do things? Like, you just do it. Like, you just look it up on the internet. Like,
Right.
and that, it seems like such a basic skill, but like without cubing, I probably wouldn't have developed that skill like so strongly.
Yeah.
And it's just like a central part of how I think about anything.
Yeah. I would like to say, just like, you know, as a message to parents, I guess, who aren't supportive of their kids cubing, like, and I think we can all agree with this. Like, for me, at least, cubing has gotten me everything in my life, in recent memory. Like, everything good that has happened to me is in some way due to cubing. And so, like, I'm just going to be blunt with it. Like, you are like basically depriving your children of many opportunities.
But I think even it doesn't really matter. Like, general parenting, let your kids do what they want to do. They'll do better in things they want to do than what they don't. I don't know.
Yeah. They will. Yeah. If your kids want to cube, like, let them cube.
If you think it's a bad thing, let them figure that out on their own. Like,
that's true. People need to make mistakes.
Yes. Mistakes are the only way to become wise.
That's true. But yeah, you do not want to, I think no parent wants to like actually deprive their children of like great opportunities. And I sincerely believe that cubing can provide that if they're dedicated to
Definitely.
it. Yes. And like, I don't know. That's just where I'm at with it.
I agree.
Yeah.
So my parents are always supportive, but just as a side note, they were so happy when I got my license. Oh man. Like, they were like, "We are done. You were driving yourself. Goodbye." And I was like, they've always been supportive, and like, that was a big plus for them.
Definitely,
and that's a note to parents too. Like, hang in there. Like, they'll get of age where like your kids will become independent enough to like sustain themselves, and like the community is very supportive of that. Like, everybody supports each other. So once they're like of age, like 17, 18, like it's hands off from there for 99% of people. So
my parents were always supportive. They weren't always supportive of having a YouTube channel, but that took a little bit of convincing. But
that is reasonable. I mean, questioning whether you should be putting yourself on the internet when you're like 12 or 11. It's like, probably not.
Especially more reasonable now, like even more than it was back then. Like now, like I wouldn't want my kid to be on YouTube if they were 10. Like,
right. No way. Yeah.
No. Like, I'm honestly, when I look back on it, I'm very, very, very surprised that my parents let me do it, because like at the time I was super annoyed that they wouldn't. But then like now I look back on it and I'm like,
it makes sense. It's reasonable.
Yeah. It does make sense. The lack of, because that can be sort of dangerous. Cubing itself is not, though.
Yes. YouTube is another story. But then again, if I didn't have a YouTube channel when I was 12, would I have as tough skin as I do? Like, maybe not. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Takes the right personality, though.
It does,
for sure. Yeah, I've definitely struggled with it, like in terms of just like getting used to that and trying to just not pay too much attention to it, you know. But it's probably better that happened then than now. So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't change anything, honestly, if I could go back.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's going to wrap up our Q&A. So we have one
longest
more
Q&A to date? Question mark.
I think it probably was. Yeah,
that was very well. That was very good, though.
That was really
questions.
good. That was good a marathon Q&A right
yeah.
there. But yeah, very, very good questions, and yeah, that was great. But yeah, we do have one final segment before we leave, which is everybody's favorite segment, cubing in the news. There has been recently an article that was discovered and posted on Cubix Friends that discusses the best Rubik's Cube by Adam Reeder, actually.
My cousin
posted this article.
Cuber speed Rubik's Cube.
So we are basically going to go through and read this article. It's a relatively long article. So how about, Phillip, do you want to start?
I will gladly read this article.
Get bored.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. If you get bored, one of us can take over, but you're also welcome to read the whole thing.
Okay. If you've never played with a Rubik's Cube, you're missing out. A fad toy of the 1980s, Rubik's Cubes are now seen as a great mind teaser to keep your brain working hard and your logical muscles flexing. Though the original Rubik's Cube design was a simple cube with 6 different colored sides, it has evolved into a number of different shapes and sizes. No matter which Rubik's Cube you choose, you'll never get bored challenging yourself to make those colors match. Actually, side note, right? My friends often ask me, like, is cubing fun? And it's like, every solve is fun. It doesn't matter that it's, because it's never really the same thing every time. Anyways, they're right about this. Good point by the article. You'll never get bored challenging yourself to make those colors match. Back to the article.
Compared to stuff we have read on this podcast, this isn't bad. Like, that was not a bad first paragraph.
Okay, the first paragraph was solid. No complaints.
Okay, did you see the little caption underneath the picture, though? Though it may not seem to be the case, there is always a solution to the Rubik's Cube.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Don't worry about scrambling in unsolvable territory. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay, back to the article.
I feel like that's very clear. If you could get to a certain position, you can always get back.
I mean, that is...
Some people don't understand that. There's a lot of people that
does take
unsolvable
thinking. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
If you're ready for a brain teaser like no other, read our buying guide for choosing a Rubik's Cube. At the end, we've included reviews of a few of our favorites, like Cuber Speed Rubik's Speed Cube, which can keep up with the fastest of players. Considerations
that
when...
was a very sharp downturn.
Negative. Bad paragraph.
First paragraph.
Anyone heard of the Cuber Speed? Keep up with the fastest players? Oh, there's a typo in here. That's a brutal typo. They didn't even finish Erno Rubik's name. They accidentally put a question mark instead of the O in Invented by a considerations when choosing Rubik's Cubes. History of the Rubik's Cube. Invented by a Hungarian professor named Ern Rubik in 1977. The Rubik's Cube burst onto the scene in 1980 and became an instant classic. It was originally called the Magic Cube, but became Rubik's Cube before going to market. Once it was made available as a consumer toy, sales skyrocketed, and it's been a popular time waster ever since. Now, at that point, I have a strong disagreement with. I don't know about you guys, but we just talked about cubing, how it's so not a waste of time. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Rubik's Cubes come in exactly 4 standard sizes. Nothing else. There are 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, and 5x5 inches.
Inches, really?
That's a really big Rubik's Cube, like a 1/2 foot Rubik's Cube, like 5 inches by 5 inches. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's actually very
The larger the cube, the more difficult it is to solve. While the 2x2 is a good starting point for children, the 3x3 is the original classic model. The 4x4...
That's false. The 2x2 is harder to solve if you don't know a 3x3.
The 4x4 and 5x5 cubes are fun for those who enjoy a slightly more difficult challenge. Colors. The original cubes came... Okay, so clearly there was a bit of a slip up here. 2x2, 4x4, 5x5 inches. Not accurate reporting by the reporter here. Clearly doesn't understand.
Are they just talking about different sizes of 3x3s?
No, like, Rubik's cubes come in 4 standard sizes. No, the Rubik's company.
Talking about
the Rubik's company makes 4 sizes. They make the 2x2x2.
Yes. No. I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm just thinking it would be funny if they were talking about like there are 4 different size models of 3x3. Like you can get a small one.
It's just like where would you get that from?
Or you can get a big one.
Right, and I love the idea that the big one is harder.
but they line up so perfectly. That's like 2x2, 3x3, 4x4. You know, and it's in inches. Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah.
Colors. The original cubes came with sides of blue, green, white, red, orange, and yellow. Since then, Rubik's cubes have branched out into other colors. Some use colors like gray and silver, while others even have textured tiles. That was a good one. Good paragraph.
CubeSmith throwback.
Yeah. Stickers were the original.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, true statements. Stickers were the original design for the Rubik's Cube. However, since then, tiles have replaced stickers on some models. Tiles are more durable and less likely to fall off over time than stickers. What's more, tiles don't give you the opportunity to remove and rearrange them, as some unscrupulous players might do with stickers. Classic non-cuber takes this. See, the really high IQ people say they take it apart and put it back together. Then you know they've really thought about how to cheat at a Rubik's Cube.
That's true. Yeah.
There's so many people that don't even realize you can take them apart. Like I take a piece out and they're like, "You broke it." Yeah. They're like, "I never thought about that before." And I'm like, "Oh, it just comes off the assembly line like assembled." Like, how would that work?
No, they just whenever I teach someone how to cube, the first thing I explain is how the mechanism works. Anyways. Unusual shapes and sizes. While Professor Rubik started with a basic cube shape, his invention has now morphed into other shapes as well.
Oh, you skipped a section.
Oh, okay. Sticker. Wait. Speed cubes.
Speed cubes?
Features. Yeah. So now we're onto the features section. Speed cubes. Speed cubes are Rubik's cubes.
That's a feature.
Okay, speed cubes are Rubik's cubes. That's a false statement. That are engineered to spin more fluidly than standard cubes. They have rounded edges and a looser turning mechanism. This allows for a faster movement of the cube. Some speed cubes also come with a tool for tuning in the internal springs, making the movement even smoother. Some speed cubers also choose to lubricate their cubes to give them an even greater advantage. While professors
cubers, like there's only a handful that actually lubricate their cubes.
I mean, that's probably true. I mean, while Professor Rubik started with a basic cube shape, So what's interesting about this previous paragraph, just going back, it sounds like the reporter is accurately reporting what's going on and just failing to consider that these aren't Rubik's cubes that people use. You know, like.
Right. Yeah. They've done enough research to know some things about cubing, but
they just completely forgot that like Rubik's Cube is not the only, or maybe they have a brand deal and they're trying to convince people that like speed cubers anyway.
But like Chicago Tribune, seems like pretty legit. I don't know. Okay.
While Professor Rubik started with a basic,
I think this is sponsored actually.
That makes sense.
Is it?
Yeah. While Professor Rubik started with a basic cube shape, why would they be talking about Professor Rubik so much if it wasn't about the Rubik's brand? Because that's the only thing the Rubik's brand has going for it, that it's like the official brand. Like, okay. His invention has now morphed into other shapes as well. They're tower-shaped, irregular-shaped. Well, that was implied. And even animal-shaped Rubik's Cube puzzles for a new twist on an old game. While the final goal is the same. That's clever. Like the Rubik's twist, very clever.
So
While the final goal is the same, the road to get there becomes more complicated with these additional shapes. A few Rubik's models come with the aforementioned tuning tool, while others come with a protective bag or display stand. This is all true. Do Rubik's cubes come with protective bags or tuning things? Maybe there's that one.
Yeah, there's the one that comes disassembled.
Yeah,
it comes with like
probably comes with a tuning tool. Yeah.
Which is
if you want to feel like you're getting a little something extra for your money, opt for a Rubik's Cube with these added accessories. And there we have the confirmation that this is indeed a sponsored report. Okay. Price. Most Rubik's Cubes cost between $5 and $30. For $5, you can buy the basic 2x2 junior cubes. If you spend $15, you can get an irregular shaped you can get a 3x3 or a 4x4. For $30, expect a large 5x5 cube that have you twisting and turning for hours on end.
I like how they say
expect a large 5x5.
Right. Like you just throw $30 at them and see what you get.
Yeah, like when
you might not get it.
Cube dealer, you just give them money and you hope you get a cube back.
Yeah. This is what you should expect.
Okay. Now we get to the FAQ. This is okay. FAQ. Can I take my Rubik's Cube apart if it becomes difficult to spin? Yes! In fact, many Rubik's Cube experts take their cubes apart in order to lubricate them. This allows them to solve the puzzle even faster. Simply turn the top row 45 degrees and pop out an exposed cube. The rest should be easy after that.
I like how they say 45%.
It says 45%. I didn't notice. I just auto-corrected it in my head.
Yeah.
Oh my.
45%. It's funny because that'll still work most of the time, but that's not right.
No. Okay, next question.
We're gonna change the regulations, like if it's below 45%.
Oh no.
Is it okay for
Now you're doing math equations on the table to try to figure out.
Not really. Oh, wait, is it okay for small children to play with a Rubik's Cube? Not really. What?
They're too stupid.
The Rubik's Cubes have small pieces that can be removed. They are recommended for kids age 8 and older. Younger children might be at risk of choking if they put small pieces of the cube in their mouth. Okay.
Leo Bormiro would like to know your location.
Get yourself a decent Rubik's. Like, honestly, this is a good, compelling reason to get a Rubik's Cube. Like, it's not coming apart on accident. Your kid's not going to choke on this massive 5x5 inch puzzle. Like, no chance.
Yeah, really. And like 8 years old is a bit of a stretch, I feel. Like a 6-year-old is not going to put these pieces in their mouth.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know about you guys, but when I got my Rubik's Cube, I was not stuffing it in my mouth. That was not the first.
I mean, I started cubing when I was 9. Like, I don't know. 8 seems like a stretch.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got this is what you've all been waiting for. The Rubik's Cubes we recommend section. The best of the best. Yeah. Cuber's Speed Rubik's Cube. Our take. Just like the original, only faster. What we like. Tiles instead of stickers. Comes with a handy cube stand. Super speedy movement for fast cubers. What we dislike. Most expensive cube. On that topic, best bang for your buck. Hasbro Gaming's Rubik's 3x3 Cube. Our take. This cube strikes the right balance between price and quality. What we like, display span and classic durability, make this just like the Rubik's Cube you remember from your childhood. What we dislike, some users complain that the cube didn't turn as easily as it should.
By an article sponsored by Rubik's. That's the whole... So the Cuber Speed Rubik's Speed Cube is just the GAN Rubik's 3x3.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a decent puzzle. Decent puzzle.
Yeah, that's actually not bad.
So if they were looking at only Rubik's Cubes, of course they would choose that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the next one is like,
guys,
I think it's just
they've got the choice 3.
It's just the normal one.
Choice 3 is not even a 3x3, guys. We're moving down to the 2x2 inch Rubik's Cub.
2x2 inch.
The Winning Moves Games Rubik's 2x2 cube. The perfect cube for quick games on the road or in the office. Miniature size makes this cube portable, and inexpensive price makes it accessible for all. What we dislike: some cubers claim their cubes broke quickly.
I like them referring to solves as like
games.
Your mom being like, "Honey, come down for dinner." It's like, no, let me finish.
No, I gotta finish my game.
I can't pause it.
Guys, we gotta read the italics at the bottom. The writer of this review, Adam Reeder, is a writer for Best Reviews. Best Reviews is a product review company with a singular mission to help simplify your purchasing decisions and save you time and money. Best Review never accepts free products from manufacturers and purchases every product it reviews with its own funds. Best Reviews spends thousands of hours researching, analyzing, and testing products to recommend the best picks for consumers. Best Reviews and its newspaper partners may earn a commission if you purchase a product through one of our links. And that's why they didn't use real things, because Cubicle doesn't offer commissions.
I just want to point out on this last one over here for the 2x2 that it says that the cube is portable. That's one of their likes, which implies that 3x3s are not portable.
Right.
I was thinking that too, right? Like,
well, I mean, if you've got
this 3x3,
I mean, it's 3x3 inches. That's pretty big. I don't know, like 3x3 inches, a quarter foot. Like
3x3.
That's a really big puzzle. I mean, can you?
Quarter foot.
Okay, so this article was posted October 22nd, 6:57 a.m. I mean, clearly they didn't do their research. If they had done their research, they may have posted at like 6, like maybe 6:54 a.m. That would be like a more cubing time to post. You know, maybe like 6:25, 6:25 a.m. That would be a better time. 6:57. Yeah. I don't know. Does anyone even have a 6:57 3x3 average? Probably not. So I have to say, decent article, bad research. The part that makes this the most like, you can't claim ignorance when you say you spent thousands of hours researching and analyzing.
You definitely can't.
Like, you just set yourself up to lose in that situation. So
yeah. I love Phil's comment on CF. It's just like, that's it. My business is done for.
I'm out of a job.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm honestly a little confused. So is Adam Reeder a reader or a writer? I don't get it.
Oh, damn.
He needs to decide.
He definitely doesn't read actual reviews of puzzles, so.
Dang.
So probably just Adam Ryder. Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Feels bad.
He definitely does write. I mean,
he did write something. Allegedly.
That's the best I can really say about that article. Well, I think that's going to wrap up Cubing in the News. Truly an amazing article by Adam Vetzer.
Yeah.
Good job, Adam.
Clearly did a lot of
I didn't do anything. Yeah, I just wrote.
Good job, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great job.
I did something.
You did a lot of reading for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, like, for example, like in my history class recently, I had a book report due. I read 20 pages of the intro and wrote the entire report and got 100 on it. And I feel like I did about an equivalent job here. If you would rank me 100.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Truly amazing.
Well done.
Thank you. I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess with that is going to wrap up our podcast for today.
Definitely the longest
huge
podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely the longest
going
that
for
we've
2
had
hours.
in a hot minute.
Yeah. Have we done any over 2 hours?
I think there's been one.
Okay.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is big. Yeah.
We definitely recorded over 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much to Phillip for joining us. Definitely check out his channel, Laser Zero Monkey. Of course, linked in the show notes. But yeah, it was really great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for the questions and the convo. It's fun times.
Yeah.
Cubing
good
friends,
questions.
cubing friends are the best friends.
Yep.
Big
True
facts
facts.
right there.
Big
yes.
facts.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Well, before we leave, we do have to announce our next guest. So if I could get a drum roll, please. Our next guest is Steve Griggs. So for those of you who don't know Steve Griggs, he's a really cool guy. He's been in a lot of our vlogs before.
He's a champ.
And he is also
iconic.
And yeah, that's going to be about it for this one. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can leave them down below, and that would be much appreciated. Like, share this video, and follow us on social media in order to be awesome. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening.
Okay, bye.